Good day. This is Shannon Kringen. I'm back in the Seattle saddle. It is January 17th, 2026. Happy New Year to all my people who subscribe and like my channel. Thank you so much. I am an artist and a model and a multimedia artist and a experimental, creative, improvisational thinker and liver of life. I got back from San Diego, California, the place of my birth, a few days ago. I immediately went into taking care of a puppy and a cat, and I went through a roller coaster. I wrote a new poem about it, and I shared it at the Poetry Bridge in West Seattle at the CMP Coffee. And in San Diego, I made lemons out of lemonade, and I was handed lemonade and I made some lemons, unfortunately, but I also was handed lemons and made lemonade. So my dyslexia helped me write a poem about lemons to lemonade and then lemonade to lemons. So it can go either direction. You can be handed an opportunity, and because of the stress that you're under, you can do things that cause other people around you to not want to work with you anymore, and then you can have a plan B. And that's what happened. I originally went down to San Diego, California, magical place where I was born in 1968, with a certain plan. And then that plan went south. And I'm working through the repercussions of that. But I had to do immediately, bam, land on my feet and come up with a plan B. So I was able to do that very quickly and very rapidly, and I'm working through everything involved in that. I've done a lot of crying about it. I've been angry, sad, scared, grateful, fearful, watching the surfers in San Diego at Pacific Beach and Ocean Beach and La Jolla Cove and not Golden Gardens, that's Seattle and Elkai, um, Sunset Cliffs in San Diego, Torrey Pines, the Black's Beach, clothing optional beach where I went with my friend from Germany, a woman who is a naturist. We had a wonderful time on the beach. These are just some of the highlights of my trip. My brain is very chaotic, but I'm working right now to compile new poetry and new music and share my videos and photos that I created in San Diego, California, in La Jolla. And I did open mic poetry at a really amazing place called The Template in Ocean Beach, San Diego. And then that's sort of like the Haight Ashbury of San Diego, Ocean Beach. And I went to Liberty Station to do Mockingbird Improv Theater. I love those people down there in San Diego that do the improv comedy theater, Mockingbird Improv. I took a workshop, an improv theater workshop class, and then they invited me to come to some of their shows. I went to, I think, five different performances of comedy at the improv, Mockingbird Improv in San Diego. And then I went to this wonderful bookstore called Mysterious Galaxy Bookstore on Rosecrans in San Diego, and met with other people. I met a full-time professional science fiction writer named Jonathan Maberry, and he was interested in my poetry book. So now he has a copy of my poetry book, and I'm so happy. He told me that he's as enamored with Tom Waits as I am with Tom Petty. This is my Tom Petty button for those who don't know. Tom Petty widens my jetty. To me, poetry and music are related, and I'm a bit dyslexic and I don't read a lot of actual books and poetry. I listen to music, and I've been tuned into music my whole life since I was a little kid, listening to lyrics and writing poetry since I was 13. And so this person and I connected in that way. He said that he is a full-time professional writer, meaning he writes 8 hours a day, literally, and that's his day job is writing, but he loves it. That's the job that he loves, and that is his actual paycheck job. And so he doesn't have a lot of time to read other people's books, but he loves in his spare time to read poetry and he listens to music. And he said he listens to lots of Tom Waits music and loves Tom Waits and really listens to the lyrics. And so I'm hoping that he appreciates my Kringonian Pizzazz poetry book. And then I did, let's see, what is it called? Pen to paper at La Jolla Library. And I did creative writing at the library with some people that studied with Judy Reeves at the San Diego Writers Inc. INK, like ink, double entendre, ink, like not incorporated, but ink, INK, the ink that you write with a pen, like old-fashioned writing ink. And I was going to do a New Year's Eve party with them. They had a writing party for New Year's Eve, but I missed that because of a rainstorm and because of a problem with my transportation situation. So I had a very stormy, rainstormy New Year's Eve in San Diego and New Year's Day in San Diego, very rainy, very stormy, literally, metaphorically, as well as literally. Went to La Jolla Cove many times and listened to the sea lions. Went to the YMCA outdoor heated swimming pool in La Jolla, the most beautiful YMCA I've ever been to, with 2 outdoor heated pools. And I'm a member here in Seattle, so I can go nationwide. And I was thrilled to find free parking by the San Diego Zoo near Balboa Park because most of the parking in San Diego is no longer free, but I'm very good at frugally getting around. And I went to El Indio restaurant on India Street near the freeway, one of my favorite places where my grandparents and I used to go, and way back in the 70s, in the 1970s. And again, I cried, I laughed, I had fun, I did creative writing, I did improv theater, I was an audience member for the improv theater as well as I took an improv theater class at the Mockingbird, and I stayed at a wonderful place in North Park, and my friend lives in South Park, San Diego. And I went out to the desert with my naturist friend from Germany, a female that I've known for 20 years. We have a synchronistic connection of San Diego, Florida, and Seattle. She used to live in Seattle, and I met her in Florida. So I first originally met her when she was one of the co-managers. Her name was Claudia, and she's one of the she used to help run they used to be called the Slugs, the um, sun lovers under gray skies, slugs. And that was way back in the olden days. I don't know if that group still exists. Now they have the Tiger Mountain Family Nudist Resort, which used to be called, I forgot what it used to be called, but it's in Issaquah. And that's a clothing optional place. We went to the desert where she has a cabin and we swam in a heated pool at night and it was beautiful. Fortunately, the outdoor hot tub wasn't hot enough that night, so we didn't do that, but it was beautiful to be in the desert near San Diego, near Cuyamaca. I'm still processing everything, and again, I have a lot of beautiful photos and videos and poems that I'm writing and new songs. There's going to be a new Cowboy Kring song. There's going to be a new song we have a song called Lonely in the Sand, which we're going to release soon officially. There's another song called This Isn't About You, is one of the titles of one of my new songs. Because I had an experience where somebody got upset with me and they said, "This isn't about you." And I was thinking, okay. It was painful for me to hear that I came across as somebody who thought that everything was about me. But to me, the situation that we were having that was difficult should be about us and we, not me or you or I, but about we and us. And that would include plants, animals, houses, buildings, and human beings that are all working together to solve a challenging situation and cooperate with one another. So I made a few mistakes that got me into trouble with some people. And then when I tried to fix that and apologize and recreate something better and co-create something better with these people, their solution was just to cancel me out of the situation and ask me to leave. And so I had to do a plan B. And I'm not going to share all of the personal details out of respect for myself and also out of the respect of privacy of the other people involved. But I learned from that. I learned some lessons and I learned that I have a lot of healing and growing to do. And at the age of 57, I'm learning to see beyond the duality of us versus them. And this was a concrete example of that because I'm always saying that. And some people think I'm woo woo for saying that, but I don't mean it in a woo woo, um, airy fairy spiritual way. I mean it in a true, practical, pragmatic, how you solve problems with people that you're not getting along to way, seeing beyond the duality. But if the other people you're with do not see beyond that, then I guess you do have to leave the situation. So I was very resilient. I was like a surfer that got knocked down in the ocean and had water up my nose and had to just cough up the water and get back on my surfboard and surf a different wave. And I found other waves to surf. And I take full responsibility for my actions that were immature and inappropriate. And then I move on to the next phase, which is all I can do is forgive myself. The people involved, I would love to have a discussion with and resolve it with them, but they don't want to speak with me. If they ever want to speak with me, I will, but I don't think they want to speak with me, so I'm not going to bother them. So that's the respect I have for their boundaries and their privacy. So the respect I have for myself is that I'm picking myself up by my bootstraps in a gentle way, not in a tough love way, but in a loving way. I need to learn to love myself the way a parent would love a 3-year-old child. As cliche as that sounds, that's very helpful. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm getting ready for a modeling gig right now. I have to go. And I took a walk in the sunshine today, and I want to spend more time in heated swimming pools here in Seattle. I've almost said San Diego. I feel like I'm still in San Diego. I really love that place. It's very green and lush and more humid than I remember. It is because it has a microclimate. San Diego is a little different than other parts of Southern California that are very dry. It does get very warm in San Diego, but it's in the 70s most of the year, no exaggeration, even in the winter. And there's a cool coastal ocean breeze, and there's amazing plants, amazing soil, amazing the color of the soil and the smell in the air of eucalyptus trees and bird of paradise. And I don't know all the names of all the plants. And at the San Diego Zoo, I saw Lupe, the hippo that used to be at the Woodland Park Zoo here in Seattle, where I volunteer. So I had a very special experience witnessing Lupe, the hippo, swim around with her new hippo friends in San Diego that are a mother and child of female hippos. And so the three hippos swim together in this giant enclosure that has lots of water for them. In the San Diego climate seems a lot more um, pleasant for the hippos and the African animals, the rhinos and the elephants and the giraffes and the zebras and certain African animals seem to do really well in the climate of San Diego because it's more mild. I got to see the giant pandas and the baboons. I took photos of the giant pandas and baboons and the hippos, and my friend and I took photos of ourselves at the clothing optional beach, totally natural, free range human beings on the beach, lying on rocks. I'm going to share those where I'm allowed to share those in a naturist kind of way. And I love being a natural human being at the ocean. And it's nice in San Diego near Torrey Pines. The clothing optional part of the beach is unofficially clothing optional, and the San Diegan people are used to it. And so you see people running on the beach in their regular jogging outfits, and some of the people are not wearing any clothing in a family friendly way, and some of them are wearing clothing, and they all coexist together. And I noticed in San Diego also, there's the Navy down there, and there's which is a more conservative, traditional kind of person, and then there's the liberal, artistic. I lean liberal, but I'm more of a centrist in the middle, and so I noticed the vibe in San Diego was a little bit more in the middle from Seattle. There's a little bit more of a military presence there, and a little bit more of a traditional family presence by some of the people there, some of the Mexican people that live there, that are American citizens, and there's more of a traditional family thing mixed with the more alternative people that have a non-traditional way of doing things. And so I feel like there's more of a coexistence of different kinds of people. Not that any society is perfect, but there was just a different vibe down there, a little bit more of a cosmopolitan mixture of different kinds of people coexisting together. That was interesting for me to feel the vibration of that and just the different style of things. And the creative writing groups that I went to, yeah, one 3 hour networking session at the Mysterious Galaxy bookstore that was very inspiring, and I took a lot of notes. And then I went to two creative writing workshops, one at Lestat's coffee shop in Hillcrest and a very creative neighborhood in San Diego, and one at the La Jolla Library, and one at Rosecrans. I don't know what that's near the Sports Arena Drive in San Diego. Was really interesting to see and have a new relationship with San Diego as an adult. And I rented a car when I was there, and I was happy that I was being an adult in San Diego, navigating the freeways. People drive really fast on the freeway in San Diego, and I was able to navigate it. And every once in a while, I would take a back road and to take it easy on myself and be able to drive only 40 miles an hour instead of, super fast on the freeway with all the other people on the freeway, navigating all of those complicated exits, more complicated than the Seattle freeway. Similar to how complicated it is, I drove also in Houston, Texas with a friend of mine when we went to the art car parade in Houston, Texas. That was really complicated. So, yeah, I just wanted to catch up with you guys. I need to drink some water. My throat's all dry. And thank you for listening. I'm going to head to my art model gig and be yourself no matter what they say. That's my tattoo. I feel like that I designed, and that's what it means. And I think that we're being encouraged to polarize, and we're being encouraged to lose our sense of individuality and think that individuality is selfish and self-centered. But I actually think that if you really appreciate your own individuality and the individuality of other humans, and we're coming from a place of trying to do something, be the change that you want to see in the world, instead of um, joining groups and fighting against other groups and putting people in stereotypical boxes. Take everything on a case by case basis. So if you see something that upsets you, take it on a case by case basis of individuals interacting instead of starting to generalize and stereotype about what a group of people is or is not, good or bad. So I think that for me, my way of being an activist is to appreciate my individuality, appreciate the individuality of others, and be the change that I want to see and try to build up what I want to see more of in the world. That is my way of contributing. And I do not tell other people what to do or what not to do in terms of, because that's none of my business. And it's about other people taking responsibility for doing what they do and seeing what happens with that. So that's kind of how I feel right now philosophically about that. And many troubling things are happening in the world, and I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to discuss because that's for you to figure out, and that's for me to figure out privately. So you do you, and I do me is my attitude right now about that. I am very concerned about things happening in the world that are violent and disturbing, and trying to figure out what I can do to create a ripple effect that builds up more of what I want in the world and to counteract all of the horrible toxic things happening in the world. So there it is for now. I have to get busy now, and I am so grateful that I am able to have the freedom to express myself and the freedom to be the change I want to see and to earn a living in creative ways and to collaborate with people artistically with music and theater and comedy and writing and art modeling and taking care of animals, dogs and cats, volunteering out in nature here in Seattle, enjoying the ecosystem of Seattle and the ecosystem of San Diego, which I love very much. I'll talk more about that later. Bye for now. Thanks for being here.